Exploring Suffering. What's Wrong with the World? That was the title I was given for tonight. And I suppose the question, what's wrong with the world, the way you answer that question is going to be different, depending on who you are. And you can sort of divide people very easily by what kind of newspapers they read, or what news websites they visit to get their news. And I suppose if you ask people who go to The Guardian, what's wrong with the world, they'd probably say UKIP. Because if you look at the Guardian news website, every single day they put their top 10 news items, most popular. Every single day, in the top 3 most read news articles on the Guardian website, UKIP will feature. And you think, isn't this crazy? Like, you're giving so much attention and space to this group of people because you think the particular problem is some sort of conservative, right-wing, probably racist, but xenophobic mindset, sexist, manipulative. They're the problem. What's wrong with the world? Those guys, not you guys, but those guys. Yeah? You know, it's the Chelsea fans. That's what's wrong with the world. These people who are narrow-minded, hateful. And I suppose if you read the Daily Mail, who would they say what would they say was wrong with the world? What's wrong with the world? Well, they'd probably be something about people on benefits. For the people on benefits, all these scroungers, these people who don't do any work, these people who just bleed the state dry, lazy people. People who have never done a hard day's work in their life. That's what's wrong with the world. Or maybe they cast their eyes a little bit further. They'd pick another group of people, whether, Boko Haram or ISIS. They'd say there's a group of people, they're what's wrong with the world. But I suppose there's another way that people might want to answer that question, what's wrong with the world? And that's to talk about things which don't really have any human involvement. So if you watched that recent video with Stephen Fry, and he's talking about sort of the illnesses, the cancers, the parasites which exist in the creation. Similar to the stuff that you were saying. This world, it seems so broken and ugly and disgusting, and maybe just like Frankenstein and his monster, God's just pushed it away. You see, God's actually the problem with the world. The creation is the problem. What's wrong with the world? The world is wrong. You see, there'll be some things where people would identify there are humans who are wrong, people whose mindset is wrong, people who've got the wrong political persuasion. People who are prejudiced or biased or bigoted in whatever way I think they are. And then there'd be those other things which say, no. The problem is bigger than humanity. I mean, there's earthquakes, there's landslides, there are terrible diseases like Ebola. I mean, that's what's wrong with the world, isn't it? Now, on these two sort of sides of the same sort of suffering coin, if you like, the things which involve human responsibility and the things which just are part of the natural order, as it were, I want to take you back in history. We're going to do a little history lesson. We're going to go way back to the end of 2009. Just think, what were you doing? The end of 2009. How old were you? 2000 and what? What year you were in at school? What haircut did you have? What clothes did you think were good? What music did you have on your MP3 players? Well, way back in history in 2009, I don't know if you remember, but the world was a terrifying place to be because of swine flu. Remember this? Remember this? Maybe you were still in, maybe some of the freshers here will still been in primary school 2009, I'm not sure. Are you? Were you? No? Year 9, okay. I've just lost you now, haven't I? That's it. For the rest of you, I was in Year 9. But I don't know if you remember this, everywhere was just terrified about swine flu. So what went up was the obsession with the anti-bac gel. okay, the stuff that sort of just disappears in your hands. That was going on. There was also, in every kind of public place, so they would have had loads of them in here, although this probably wasn't even built way back then. It was all fields. Way back then, there was posters up, and it said, like, if you're going to sneeze, okay, you've got to catch it, okay, so grab yourself a tissue, catch it, and kill it and bin it, or bin it and kill it. I can't remember which way around it was, right? But when you sneeze, and then you're going to get rid of it straight away, and then you're going to use your antibac gel. Everyone became sort of obsessed with cleanliness and stuff. Now, at this particular time, so end of 2009, December 2009, my wife is 8 months pregnant with our firstborn child. Now, anyone who's expecting their first child is on a heightened level of sensitivity, okay? Everything is scary because you're about to step through a new threshold in life. I was a dad. There was a baby. I couldn't see the baby yet, but they were there, and I made them, and I was responsible for them. And I'm about to enter into the world in 2010, into this world which is really scary. And so in 2010, January the 9th, one morning, my wife woke up and she went, ooh. And she said, I think I'm going to go to labour. It was 2 weeks before the baby was due to be born. So it was about 5 o'clock in the morning. So I said, you seem all right for the moment. Let me know if anything else kind of happens. Sure, we're in for a long one. So yeah, just wake me up if anything else changes. Just let me know. No, I didn't do that. So of course, I didn't do that. Right? I said, this is going to be great. You're going to be a wonderful mum. You're going to be fantastic. You're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. I love you and I'm proud of you. And then about like an hour later, it's gone from ooh into sort of ooh. I'm saying it's okay. I am so proud of you. You are doing so well. Stop rubbing the back now. I've heard that's supposed to be helpful. We're doing so well. About an hour after that, I'm so proud of you. You are doing so well. Keep rubbing the back. You are doing so. Love you so much. About an hour later, we're going to go to the hospital. And now things are getting to the business end, okay? So she's going, she's on all fours. I'm stroking her back. You're doing so well. I love you so much. You are such a good mum. I'm so proud of you. And we get into the hospital, and we're into the birthing room. And my wife, who is this just utterly sort of softly spoken Welsh Valleys sort of accent, blue eyes, blonde hair, she now sounds like a Scandinavian warrior queen, sort of with her axe and a horned helmet charging into battle. She is going, Aah! And I'm going, it's okay. I am so proud of you. I love you so much. And then James was born. And at this point, what happened was, the same time as there was a physical change, so James is born, he moves, there becomes an emotional switch just like that. Okay? So my emotional state switches with my wife's emotional state, and her emotional state switches with mine. So she picks him up and places him straight onto her chest. She says, I'm so proud of you. Oh, I love you. You are so beautiful. And I just go, what the heck is this? And I remember thinking, this is so strange. I saw his fingers, and I thought that was weird that he had fingers. Like I wasn't expecting, like all the fingers on each hand, and I was like, what the heck am I supposed to do? I've got it, everything's changed now. The entire world is different. And I just needed some advice. And so what do? I look up on the wall, and what does it say? Catch it, kill it, bin it. And I think, well, I don't think I'm going to take that advice. So much pain. So much pain. And so much joy. I mean, so much joy. But of course, it's not always just so much pain and so much joy, is it? You see, there are couples, even now, today, who go through that experience of to finding something's wrong. To lifting that baby and saying, I'm so proud of you. I love you so much, but there is something fatally wrong. Mortality rates are so much better than they used to be. But there are still babies who die. There are people who don't leave the hospital pushing their bugaboo bee and filled with joy, and the grandparents are there. There are people who have to walk out of there in utter agony because the crushing reality of the world has just come upon them. There are people who walk out of hospitals because loved ones have just died. They've sat at the bedside. There hasn't been life springing out. There's been death slowly coming upon them. And we think, why? Why does this happen? What is wrong with the world? Why can't it always be this pain followed by the joy? And Genesis chapter 3 gives us an answer. You see, Genesis chapter 3, if we could go back to that. Thank you. Genesis chapter 3, we're going to go to the woman. And the next one. Okay. Verse 13, the woman said, the serpent deceived me, and I ate. So the Lord God said to the serpent this. Next slide. And then to the woman he said, verse 16, I will make your pains in childbearing very severe. With painful labor you will give birth to children. So that sense of human pain, yes, but that still seems positive. It's pain followed by joy, isn't it? We'll go to the next one. Verse 19, by the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground. For dust you are, since from it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you will return. You see, the created order has been changed. Genesis 1 is full of, it was good, 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 it was very good. And by the time we get to the end of Genesis 3, we're seeing pain, we're seeing suffering, we're seeing people dying and returning to death, returning to the ground from which they came. The other thing we see, verse 18, is it's not just human interaction which is somehow broken, fallen. We see that the whole of creation is cursed. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil you'll eat from it all the days of your life. It will produce thorns and thistles for you. Now the ground which used to bring forth all these green plants for food is now going to bring forth painful things. And this is why you're particularly sinful if you're from Scotland, because your national flower is a thistle. So there you go. Really bad choice, that one. It says so in the Bible. So yeah, come on England. Although to be fair, daffodils are probably the best one because every rose has its thorn, doesn't it? So there we go. By that logic, the Welsh would be the best. Let's just pass over that for the moment. So we've got a world which is now as the Bible calls it, in bondage to decay. It's frustrated. It is going through, if you like, the pains of childbirth. That's what the whole creation now looks like. But what was it that happened before that? Why did that get declared? Why was that judgment given to the earth? Well, let's move back a step. Thank you. And this is the side of things where people would say there is a human interaction. There's a human involvement in the pain and suffering in the world. So whether it's the Guardian readers and it's all the problem with UKIP and the racists and the sexists and all that sort of stuff, or whether it's the Telegraph and the Daily Mail and the problem is is with all the benefit cheats and whatever it is, or whether everyone's right and it's all the fault of Boko Haram and ISIS. The human involvement. Well, let me take you back in history again, not quite so far away, so you weren't in year 9. 2011, autumn 2011. What year were you in then? Year 11, very good. Year 11. Whoa, what were you like then? Autumn of 2011. Do you remember what the world was going through at that particular moment? The Occupy movement. Occupy Wall Street. Remember the 1% and all that sort of stuff? Well, I was living in London at the time, and so Occupy LSX, or London Stock Exchange, that was the big thing. And they were all meeting at St. Paul's Cathedral. I was working for a church down there, and so someone sent me an email, said, we're going to go down to St. Paul's Cathedral and meet the protesters. We're going to chat to them about the gospel. We're going to talk to them about what St. Paul, after whom this cathedral has been named, what he would say needs to happen in the world, what his view would be. So we went down there, and we got down, and just, if you've ever been to St. Paul's Cathedral, like as you approach it, there's all these kind of steps, and then there's quite a large kind of square in front of it, a big area, and they'd set up a microphone. And there was this guy, have you ever seen the program Shameless? Ever seen that? Guys, you're killing me. Seriously. Is it just the Big Bang Theory? Because you're all like math students. Is that literally the only thing you guys watch? Right. Anyway. Shameless program set in Manchester, and there's this guy with a really scraggly beard, and he's got long sort of dark hair, and he wears a big coat, and he smokes a roll-up cigarette, and he carries a kind of like special brew. And this bloke who was doing that speech on the microphone was talking about all the problems in the world. He was answering the question, if you like, that we've got. Explore suffering, what's wrong with the world? So he starts off, and he came up to the microphone, and he goes, A! Atom bombs, destroying people's lives, communities, end of. B, Bush, Blair, warmongers. C, and he's literally just going to go through the entire alphabet, just listing things that he doesn't like and he's particularly angry about. And he's getting a few people, yeah, that's right. Anyway, by the time he's got to Z, which I don't know what Z was, I can't even remember, they probably come up with something that begins with Z. Go on, go.
No, I don't know.
No? Okay, no problem. Okay, so he gets to that and then he walks away, right? And the microphone's free. So I'm thinking, right, I should probably go and I could go up and I could talk about Jesus. Like, it's a microphone, it's all set up there. And I'm looking pretty scraggly myself, so I could have been one of the, I contextualised myself in that particular setting. Reach out to the locals, the natives. So I was like dressed like really sort of scruffily. So like, and I just walked up to the microphone and said, "I don't know about you, but I'm angry. I'm angry about the bankers." And ABC guys behind me, he's going, "Yeah, kick the bankers, the bankers." Saying those bankers, what do they think they were doing? Sitting in their like 15th floor offices, making decisions, creaming off the profits, and taking other people's lives and snapping them in a moment. Bankers ripping everyone off. I'm angry about that. And I said, do you know what else? I'm angry about the MPs. This was the time of the MP scandal. Do you remember that? GCSEs? Yeah, definitely. MP scandal. It's all going wrong. All the Telegraph's bringing out all these MPs. They're just ripping people off. Taxpayers' money going on a house for ducks in your pond. And flat screen TVs in houses you don't even live in. I'm angry about that. And of course, ABC guys go, yeah, get them, kick them, give them a kicking. I was like, do you know what else I'm angry with? I'm angry with the media. Who do they think they are? Phone hacking. Taking vulnerable people and turning them into news stories, exploiting people. And he's loving that. Yeah, get Murdoch. Go on, get him. I said, do you know what else makes me angry? The rioters. The people who thought they could burn down Tottenham. The people who thought they could run around their communities, smashing windows, breaking property. stealing things, going into JD Sports and nicking loads of trainers, just because they were upset. Who do these people think they are? Now at this point, ABC guy's he's like, I don't really know how I feel about that. And he's like, I said, but do you know what else makes me angry? It's myself. I continually, day by day, fail to live up to the standards that I would set for myself, let alone the ones that other people should expect of me. When I think about the times that I've failed, maybe I've kept them secret, maybe they've gone public, but the times that I have failed to achieve what I set out to achieve, because of my selfishness, because of my lust, because of my greed, I'm angry. At this point, this guy's just like, what the heck is going on? It's actually every single one of us has been infected by this problem. We're all to blame. And we can justify ourselves by saying, well, I wasn't one of the bankers, I wasn't one of the MPs, I'm not a Chelsea football fan, I'm not like them, I'm a good person, I've got good intentions. All right, I haven't, solved any big problems within the world, but that's only because I didn't have the opportunity. Because I haven't got enough money. When I get enough money, then I'll start being really generous and giving it all away like I think all those rich people should do. So actually, we're all involved. We've all committed the same mistake. We've all committed the same sin. And I suppose the question is, what was the sin? What was it that we did wrong? Genesis 3 again. Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. He's going to tell us a lie, and we're going to believe it. And when people you love believe lies about you, it ruins your relationship. Have you ever known that? Have you ever had that experience where someone you love believes lies that someone else has told about you, and you know that that ruins the relationship? It breaks the relationship. There's no trust there anymore. You see, let's just flick to the Romans 18, verse 25. Romans 1, verse 25. That'd be great. Verse 25. They exchanged the truth for a lie. The truth about God was suppressed, and the lie about God was believed. Do you know it's so wonderful to hear Matthew's testimony? Because he was believing the lie. He's believing the lie that God is not good, that he doesn't want us to be satisfied, to be fulfilled, and to be happy, that he keeps good things from us, that ultimately it would be better if we were in charge. When we go back to Genesis chapter 3, we will see that this is exactly what the snake does. The serpent, he doesn't come out with the lie straight away in verse 1. No, he says, did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? Just asking a question. Just putting it out there. What's wrong with a question? Just got a question. And if you've had someone you love believe lies about you, you'll know that it always starts with just a question. Did they really mean that? Just questioning the motives. I'm not saying anything, just saying, did God really say? Is that what God really said? Now Eve is on the ball here. She says, we may eat from the fruit of the trees in the garden, but God did say you must not eat from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it or you will die. Now she's just slightly twisted what God said, because he didn't actually say if you touch it you'll die. He just said you must not eat of it. So what God has said has been now distorted. God's word has been twisted. Have you ever had that experience? You've said something and it's been taken out of context, been twisted, a little bit's been added, a little bit's been taken out. And then now here comes the flat out contradiction, verse 4. You will not certainly die. Oh no, he's lying to you. He's lying to you, God. You see, he's lying to you because he wants to keep good things from you. For God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened. You'll be like God, knowing good and evil. God's keeping good things from you. He's selfish. He's not generous. He's not kind. He's mean. No. You should test this. You won't die. So Satan tells the lie about God. And then we look at the next verse. We see the woman saw the fruit of the tree was good for food, pleasing to the eye, also desirable for gaining wisdom. She took some and ate it. She gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Humanity exchanges the truth about God for a lie. When people you love believe lies about you, it destroys the relationship. When people question your motives and think you're doing something for the wrong reason, it destroys the relationship. And so this is what's happened. They didn't trust. They've decided to go their own way. They'll decide what's good and what's evil. They believe a lie and exchange that for the truth. And so God comes in judgment. He comes to tell them, okay, serpent, from now on you will crawl along on your belly. You will eat the dust of the earth. Woman, you will have pain in childbearing. Man, the ground is cursed because of you. It will bring forth thorns and thistles. And I will withdraw that breath of life that I breathed into you, and you will return to the dust of the ground. You believe lies about me. Now, the Bible doesn't finish at Genesis 3. You might think it should. You might go, okay, God made a good creation. It goes wrong. He totally just annihilates it. I'll start again. No, there's a really curious phrase in verse 21. Oh, sorry, verse 20. I'm just with you. Verse 20. Adam named his wife Eve because she would become the mother of all the living. What has God just said to Adam in the previous verse? You're going to die. Verse 19, for dust you are, to dust you will return. Verse 20, Adam named his wife Eve because she'd be the mother of all the living. Is he being sarcastic? No, you see, he's looking forward to a promise. A promise that comes when God confronts Satan and he speaks to the woman. So we go back to the Satan verse. There we go, verse 15. I will put enmity between you, that's the serpent, and the woman, between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head and you will strike his heel. And now we continue to focus on the woman's offspring. I will make your pains in childbearing very severe. With painful labor you will give birth to children. It's all about these children who will be born to the woman, because one of them is going to crush the head. And so when Adam, verse 20, names his wife Eve, he's saying, life is going to come through you. There is hope. And so this is where we celebrate Christmas and Easter. At Christmas, a woman bears a child. God incarnate. Jesus born as a baby, born into the world of parasites, of pain, of suffering. God with us, they say. He's come to join us. And what would you want God to do if he became a human being? You want him to feed the hungry, presumably. Heal the sick. Calm the storms. It's exactly what he does. But even more than that, he takes us to Easter. And what happens to him at Easter? Well, this general curse which has been put on creation, that the ground will bring forth thorns, these thorns, this curse will become his crown. His kingdom will be one of curse. He will be cursed on his cross. he will then descend into the grave. For dust you are, to dust you will return. We see on the cross that Jesus takes the punishment for all our sin. Every one of us culpable, whether bankers or in the media or just math students at Bath University. Our sin can be paid for on the cross by Jesus. The problem of suffering is solved through the person of Jesus. He enters into our world of pain and he deals with it in the cross. And when he rises to new life, he gives us hope that one day there will be a new creation. And that this creation is like a woman in labor pains. But that there will not be a stillbirth in the new creation. But no, because Jesus has been raised from the dead, so we are guaranteed that there will be pain, but ultimately followed by joy. Let me pray for us, and then we're going to move on to the next thing. Oh dear God, I praise you that you are so good. I praise you that you're fully in control. I praise you that you sent Jesus. I praise you that in him there is hope for a suffering world. There is forgiveness for a guilty people. And that he is truth. Father, I pray in his name. Amen.